Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome into Raptors today after a huge win for your Toronto Magic over the Orlando Magic.
Toronto Magic.
Well, you know what? I'm a little thrown off.
Toronto's Magic?
No, I'm thrown off today because I'm a guest on my own show because we had the dynamic duo, the long-standing tandem of Smith and Jones taking over the NBA TV Canada airwaves like they used to back in the day.
You want to switch seats or something? Or?
No, you can just host the show if you want. But first, I got to address the attire and the wardrobe. There's what's going on here? Like, is it
I think you know what's going on.
Eric's got his
They're the lucky team outfit day.
Whoa.
Buffalo Bills.
Take that word out of your mouth, Akil.
I don't
Buffalo
know,
Bills.
man. Mark Andrews,
Shoes.
a big Mark Andrews fan over here. Who you got winning the Super Bowl this year?
Buffalo.
Buffalo winning the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Nobody scares me right now.
I mean, okay,
I-
0 for 4 in the last 20 some odd years.
0 for
Jonesy-
3 against KC, but sadly, I think the streak ends if you're a Kansas City fan. Like I think
You think Kansas City's losing?
I just
It's a smart man right
listen here while we digress here, but
We'll
quickly,
get to the Raptors, but I want to hear this.
they have been so
Sorry,
good.
Jazz.
They have been so good in close games, KC, but they're not themselves. They're finding a way to do it. I just wonder if the roof doesn't fall in.
I'm calling you right after the game to gloat. But anyways, let's jump into it. Okay.
Who's your team, by the way?
I don't
the
have.
Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
I don't have a horse.
Tennessee
Enough said.
Titans.
Enough said.
I'm a
Enough
Browns
said.
fan. I don't have a horse in the race.
All right,
Enough said.
the Toronto Magic or Raptors, whatever you want to call them,
Performed magic.
they
Toronto
performed magic. Listen, I'm going to call this the perfect game because after a slow start, a very disappointing start, you look
Slow. Did somebody
Well, that-
tell them the game started at 7:30 or?
That's
or
where
10
they
to
pulled the
8?
magic. They
Was it-
pulled
was
the
it-
money out of the hat
was
after
it
that thing.
10-0 or
I don't know, but they were down by 21.
yeah.
Like-
Okay, but then if you look at the box sheet, right, the
Yeah.
box score, and you look at the offensive outputs through
Yep.
quarters 2,
2 and
3, and 4, and despite Raptors not putting up a lot of offense in the fourth quarter, though, for a team that struggled with a defensive identity, a lot of the conversation in the public was this team needs to settle down defensively, play a lot less aggressively, trust the back line, Jakob Poeltl, right? They pitched the perfect game. Smith, because you're rarely on, I'm going to get you the first here. Your impressions of what happened against Orlando.
Listen, when I looked up at the scoreboard and saw them down 21, I thought, oh boy, like here we go again.
It's like
Here we
watching
go
the Bills
again.
game, right?
Dude, I don't know what you've been watching. I don't know what you've been watching. And as a Titans fan, you just need to keep it shut. You need to keep it shut. I'll be calling you and gloating after something. But when it comes, listen, this is why, and it's so cliche, but we often talk about it's a 4-quarter game and whatever. And I know you've been saying that a lot on our broadcast. In today's NBA, with the way that the ball is being scored, with the 3-point threat at a greater height than it's ever been, you're never out of a game, even when you're down 20. And the way that they just kept plugging away, and to your point, Akil, as the defense started to come and as individual performances started to pop up, you started to see a bit of a balance overall. And Orlando starts to slip a little bit, and they look frazzled. And then Toronto just keeps rolling. I love the fact that they seem to be, the Raptors, settling into role definition, and guys are playing key cogs, key roles, and they seem to know what to do now and where to be. And I think it speaks to, outside of quickly, a team that's gotten healthy, that's starting to now have a defined starting 5 and a defined second unit with that role definition I speak of. And I think we're seeing the fruits of their labor.
Quickly before we get into the superstars, to touch on your point, we got to give some love to Davion and Jamal Shed because they're kind of that most important guy philosophy to start the year, and it really wasn't working out, and it kind of worked out last night.
Their defense is the thing that gets them on the floor, and both of them are giving enough offense with the pieces around them to keep themselves on the floor and to contribute. Not playing out of their lane, or as Eric says, overstepping their boundaries with respect to their role. And I just thought the way the game started, this is not Orlando. This is one of the lowest scoring teams.
Before the game, you were stressing when we did our hit for pregame.
Yep.
One of the worst historical 3-point shooting teams in this league's history.
They made their first 5 and then hit 2 for the rest of the game. They had 37 points in the first quarter and a combined 34 in the middle 2 quarters.
Ugh.
The Raptors put up 40.
Mm-hmm.
That was impressive because Orlando, in spite of their offensive struggles, they are one of the best defensive teams. And the fact that Toronto puts up 40 in the third quarter, and I just thought they did a great job, Toronto, of staying with it. And Eric and I have talked about this. We do talk about it on the broadcast. There's so many possessions in an NBA game now. The proliferation of the 3, and everybody's hoisting them. And that game was close by the middle of the second quarter.
Yep.
It went from 33 to 21 or to 33 to 15 or whatever it was. It's a single possession game.
No game is over in the new NBA.
Never.
Yep.
Now let's talk about the big ballers of the brand, right? So we got obviously BBQ not available.
Can I jump in?
Yeah,
with the
go
intensity
nuts.
part?
It's your show, man. Do what you want.
Scottie Barnes' ability his effort level on the defensive end was something to behold all night against Banchero. He is in.
I think he took that one personal. That's a matchup you look at.
Maybe he is in phenomenal shape to expend the energy he did on the defensive end, and yet put up the offensive numbers he did. He was terrific last night. Don't take the numbers away. The man was outer-worldly last night.
Now, the fact that you had to point that out shows me that was something that was on the calendar for him. That when he looks across the court and he sees Paolo, because it's crazy when I'm courtside and I look at Paolo. He's a
beast.
He's a monster.
Like, you don't understand how big
Akil,
this guy is.
I said exactly those same words to Anthony Parker last night, former Raptor, GM the Magic. We're sitting there watching Paolo work out pregame.
He's huge.
And I just looked at AP and said, every time I see this guy, I say to myself again, I'm like, I don't really appreciate when I'm watching on TV how big this dude actually is. Calves. His shoulder.
He's got a
like,
Yao Ming lower half.
Yes.
But the skill.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
But the skill of a 6-foot guy
Yes.
out there, like I think 20. I look at him the same way. I think 20 years ago they just stuck his backside under the basket and said, "You're a power forward. You're a 4. Don't venture outside the lane, rebound."
And I say all that to say this. I think Scottie got geeked when he looked at that matchup, and hopefully there's a lot more energy and a lot more matchups like that for him because you were praising what you saw from him.
Can I tell you as well? Hopefully I'm not speaking out of school, but no offense to Raptors today. I don't know if Anthony Parker's watching. He said yesterday, he goes, to me, it's like Shaq. I said, what? He goes, when Shaq first came in, and people say, oh, he's big, and then they actually see him, and even to this day, you think, Shaq's like what? It's like 7'1", 320, and then you see him in person, go, it might be 7'3", 380.
Yeah.
Like he is a monster, and that was the comparison that AP made. He's just such a big dude, but then to your point, doing things that a point guard would do.
All right. Let me just jump in right now. We got to head off to the coach of your Toronto Raptors, Darko.
Some great contributions from your bench, especially Bruce and Kelly. Something you haven't had too often this year because of their injuries.
Yes, definitely. Bruce brought a lot of energy off the bench, especially in the first half when we were down. Like he was able to help us to get important stops, to get some deflections and steals. Scored some points for us. He just gave us some energy there at the beginning, and I thought that Kelly did a really good job throughout the whole game with playmaking, with scoring. He had a couple of verticalities and block shots at the rim. I thought that he played really well for us tonight.
You guys did a great job executing against the zone in the third. How important, in particular, were the two vets in that regard, Kelly in his shooting and his passing, and then Bruce in his cutting in terms of breaking the zone?
For sure, that's a big part, but I think all the guys, they did their part of the job. We had Grady having great cuts, getting wide open, corner 3. Davian was in the right spot. We put against the zone Scottie in the middle of the floor, and he's playmaking from there where he can really find open people. So I feel that all the guys that were on the court, they did their part of the job there, and obviously veterans helped with that.
Hey, it's JYD. Thanks for watching the Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe for more.
Taken away by the Raps. On the run. Fits to JYD. Beautiful pass. Chuck, one of the things I'm noticing about this part